After a week behind bars, 19-year-old Geoffrey van Cromvoirt was released today. Police say he is still a suspect. How does this impact the case against fellow suspects Deepak and Satish Kalpo? Their lawyer, David Koch, joins us on the phone from Aruba. Welcome, David.
Hi, Greta. Always nice to speak with you.
Nice to talk to you. Do you have any clue who AB is, the one who was arrested on Saturday and released?
No, not yet, but he was just held for interrogation, so he was not formally arrested. You can always be held for interrogation up to 6 hours, and they didn't find the necessity to keep detaining him after that. But we don't know yet who he is.
But you also get with it, which sort of is unusual. You get labeled suspect. They pick you up, they talk to you, and even when they let you go because you didn't say enough to keep you, you're a suspect.
Yeah, well, you can hold somebody up and question them as a witness, but once you put the label on them suspects, there are certain things that you can do to such a person, and I think that's why I don't want to say easily, but very rapidly you would want to qualify somebody as suspect. I mean, it's in the interest of the investigating authorities.
I take it that your clients have not spoken to you about AB.
About AB, not. AB is somebody not known, but I think the simple fact that he was just held for the 6 hours of interrogation and immediately let go is an indication, just as with the fact of Mr. van Cromvoirt, that you see that this investigation is not really going anywhere now.
All right, Geoffrey van Cromvoirt, do they know him?
No, they do not know him at all.
And what do you make of the fact that he was arrested, detained, and then you're supposed to go back to court tomorrow where the prosecutor's supposed to convince the judge of instruction to hold him further, but apparently she folded today?
Yes, I understood that he wasn't answering any questions, and I think the simple fact that the DA, at the beginning it was presented as if this was a very important arrest, and it really died down to letting it go, not even trying to see if the judge could be convinced to keep holding him. So that says a lot, I think, don't you?
Well, it's actually curious, David. I mean, it does seem rather bizarre that the prosecutor would arrest him in connection with this case, and then suddenly he'd just give up on it.
Yeah, like I told you, I think we're coming at a certain phase of the investigation that, you try the last resources, but if that don't work at a certain moment, you just have to stop. Remember, it's going to be 1 year just now.
Have you spoken to her recently and asked her what's going on with your clients?
No, I think because of the scope of this case, that's not really the type of conversation I would like to have with her. All
right, David, thank you.
You're very welcome. Gotta take care.
Let's bring in our legal panel. Joining us from Sacramento, former Assistant DA Jim Hammer, in Washington, criminal defense attorneys Bernie Grimm and Ted Williams. Bernie, Mr. Geoffrey van Cromvoirt.
Yeah, I guess it would be easier to figure out the young men on the island who haven't been arrested, and I think there's 2 left, and I think they've arrested everybody else. Ted's got the number down. I think it's 8, but GVC came through. He didn't talk. Now, maybe he knows something, but he kept his mouth shut, and he learned a lesson from Vandersloot. Now this EB or AB gets AB.
Actually, it was EB, but there was a correction issued by the prosecutor's office. They got his initials wrong. It's AB.
Right. Well, I was actually scared before when Joe Tacopino said GVS, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, that's one step away from BSG. So, at any rate, it's going nowhere. I mean, I think they're trying to say they got some bounce off this big movie reenactment they have, but they're going nowhere.
I actually feel sorry for AB. He gets picked up, Jim, for 6 hours and released, and he gets to be a suspect now for all eternity unless he wants to go out and hire a lawyer to clear himself.
You'd have to be pretty stupid or never watch On the Record with Greta van Susteren to know, not to know, that in Aruba you get arrested, keep your mouth shut, you go free. That's the unfortunate lesson now. Anybody who's been following this case in Aruba, Greta, knows, keep your mouth shut, you go free. The prosecutor won't even try to hold you in custody if you keep your mouth shut.
Well, you really don't have to keep your mouth shut. What you need to do is to close your eyes, get a dartboard with a dart, and just throw it at the dartboard, and whoever it sticks on. Now, we got GV or C here. It could very well soon be GVS or Greta van Susteren. Anybody. It can be anybody.
Actually, Greta is wanted. They tried to arrest Greta when she was there last time, Ted.
Greta has me as a lawyer. She's all right. But the fact about it is, desperate people do desperate things. And this, when you ask me this, and this this is the reason that people really need to watch this show, is because you asked me not too long ago, what did I think about the arrest of GVC? And I remember telling you I didn't think much, and I don't think nothing tonight.
But there was no I mean, when he was arrested, we had reason to believe there was a good faith reason to pick him up. I mean, you don't just, prosecutors and police supposedly don't just go out and sort of round up the nearest.
Greta, this is Aruba you're talking about.
Well,
this is not America.
this is also.
That's the problem.
Well, look at all the other people they just picked up.
We make jokes from time to time, but this is a Dutch country.
It's very.
What, Jim?
It's very serious. Timing is everything on these interrogations, and Ted Bernie will tell you, well, I've been in there with the cops investigating murder suspects. You get one shot typically with these people. You either have the goods on them and convince them to talk, or you don't, and once they clam up, it's typically over. So to do this willy-nilly without good ammo, Greta, is a really big mistake for the investigators or the prosecutor in this case.
I don't know if it's willy-nilly or just simply picking up somebody that someone dropped the dime on or something, and all of a sudden they decided, let's pick this one up.
Well, for me, the difference is, and Jim knows this, that in order for Jim to have somebody arrested in the past, back in the old days when he was a prosecutor and a young, good-looking guy, he would have to have an arrest warrant, and he'd have to have probable cause. One, that a crime was committed, and two, that somebody committed. Down in Aruba, it's mere suspicion. So if you were seen with
what's even worse than that is that the police and the prosecutor can just decide to go pick somebody up. You get to hold them for 6 hours or 8 days.
Right.
Then finally you have to face the music, which was tomorrow. And the prosecution obviously she opened up her file, went, oh my God, there's nothing there.
Right. And I think what happened is GVC was seen at some time with Natalie.
Apparently not. His lawyer issues a statement saying that they've never met.
Last week, the Aruban police came out and said she was seen with him at some point in time.
I think Dave Holloway said they had bumped into each other, Carlos and Charlie's or something, too.
Yeah.
This is very troubling now. And who's going to be tomorrow? We got AB, and we're waiting for CC and DD. And who's next?
Jimmy, going to get the last word on this topic.
The last weird thing about the timing is these arrests came shortly after Don Pig left the case. There's an allegation that this GVC, I guess, was somehow related to his son. I wonder whether or not his leaving the case is related to the timing now or something else.
They haven't picked up his son. No one has said his son did anything wrong. His son is just, at this point, a male on the island. And so, at that point...
One of the last two not arrested.
Maybe at risk, yeah.